Why is Tears of the Kingdom getting so much hate? I know in every video game series, there's always one or two bad apples that nobody likes or that people think are weaker than other games, but when it comes to Zelda, I really believe there aren't any bad games that were made. I hear a lot of people say that Zelda 2 is bad or it's just way too hard, which makes it bad, but I can't speak on that game because I still haven't played it. So far, I think the hardest Zelda game to this day is A Link to the Past. Maybe it's because I beat that game when I was still a kid, so I had a lot of trouble and died a lot because I was stupid, but I remember it being really challenging. Anyway, despite some Zelda games being harder than others, I don't think any of the games are really bad at all. But lately online, I've been seeing a lot of people talk crap about Tears of the Kingdom, or they compare it to Breath of the Wild and say it didn't do well as a sequel because it's just the same map, but with sky islands and a dark underground map that's empty. Now that I have a few of the complaints out of the way though, let's compare the two games because I think that's the only way to put this discussion to an end and decide once and for all which one is the better game. Let's start with Breath of the Wild. I just want to go ahead and say that I absolutely love Breath of the Wild, and to this day, I still believe it's one of the best Zelda games ever made, even if it isn't a traditional Zelda game. It was the first game in the series to be open world, and it probably has one of, if not the best story out of any Zelda game. Playing it for the first time was one of the best gaming experiences I've had in my life. The whole open world of Hyrule was new to me. I didn't know what to see or expect. There were difficult puzzles and shrines, and the Divine Beast. Some of the monsters were really challenging, like the Guardians, and their scary music that played when they spotted you. Even some of the boss fights were really hard. I still remember getting so frustrated when I kept dying to Thunderblight Ganon and I wanted to throw my controller at the wall and break it. And I never get mad at games like that. Maybe I just suck, but for me, that boss was really hard. Anyway, the whole game was a lot of fun and it had a great ending. If I'm being honest, I didn't really expect it to get a sequel, and some people probably think it didn't need one, but I'm glad it did get one because the sequel we got was even better. Now, let's get into Tears of the Kingdom. A lot of people like to bring up how iconic the opener is for Breath of the Wild because when you wake up and go outside, you walk out onto that cliff and look out over the land and it just looks breathtaking. No pun intended. What you're seeing isn't even half of what you get to explore, so you have no idea what you're in store for, but it's enough to get you excited to play and explore everything. As much as I love the opener to Breath of the Wild, though, I feel like people don't give enough credit to how Tears of the Kingdom started. You get this crazy intense cutscene with Zelda falling and going missing and the Master Sword breaking. You just really feel how helpless Link is because his weapon is gone, his hearts are drained back down to 3, and right after that, you get a really cool looking arm that saved you and it becomes your new arm because you lost your old one. And then you end up in the sky and you skydive really far down into some water. Everything looks gorgeous. And if you don't think any of this that I'm telling you right now sounds as epic as Breath of the Wild, then you're crazy. Maybe people like the more simplistic and calm intro that Breath of the Wild had because it makes you feel good versus Tears of the Kingdom where it throws you right into a horror movie at the beginning and you only get to experience peace after you get traumatized. But who knows? Either way, you can't judge the games just off of an intro, so let's talk about what really separates the two and which of them is better. Let's go ahead and talk about the new areas first in the sky and the ones underground. I'm not gonna lie and say they have a ton to do, but when people say they're boring and don't bring anything new to the game at all, are just lying to themselves. I had a lot of fun exploring underground in the dark. It was kind of creepy, I loved the atmosphere, and you could find some really good stuff inside chests. In Breath of the Wild, you could only get a lot of cosmetics by buying amiibos, but in Tears of the Kingdom, you could find all of those different outfits inside chests, and that right there is already an improvement because amiibos are expensive after you add them all up, and nobody wants to spend a bunch of money just for in-game outfits. Now, how about the Sky Islands? Well, I really love the Sky Islands because it adds to the world a lot. You get a new type of land to see, new enemies, you get chests up there too, and there's even shrines up there as well. I'll also never get over skydiving or shooting myself up in the air because it's so cool every single time I do either of these. Also, the people who complain that it's the same map make no sense either. because it's a sequel, so it's supposed to use the same map, and it works really well. Majora's Mask fans do not chime in and say, "Oh, it didn't have to be the same map." For this game, I think it did, and it worked. The map has also changed enough to be considered very different and worthy of a sequel map. There were some areas I thought I'd be familiar with, but then when I got there, it was totally different, and I had no idea where I was going or who I was needing to talk to. It really confused me, but that's a good thing because it means the game was different enough to feel brand new to me and get me lost. Overall, I think Tears of the Kingdom is the better game. In my opinion, it's Breath of the Wild, but with lots of improvements and a buttload of more content to keep you entertained. As much as I love Breath of the Wild, I'd rather replay Tears of the Kingdom if I'm ever getting that open world Zelda itch. Also, Tears of the Kingdom has Ganondorf, and that was enough to make me like it even more. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, then leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Let me know which game you think is better, and I'll see you all in the next video.